Thank you.
Right. Bye-bye.
The 14th of January, Rabbi Furst, Mishna Berura.
Okay, good morning again. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here with our second share, Mr. Brewer. And we're learning in Siman Kufnun Ches, in Tilas Yadayim for Suda, for washing, for a motzi, the washing of the hands, which is required. And we're learning in Sif Aleph there in Siman, again, Kufnun Ches. Yeah. Go ahead. Start over again. We can.
Okay. Okay, so it says, Sheyavo le'echol pat shemevarchim alav hamotzi. So when one comes to eat bread, they should say on it hamotzi. Ito yadayim. They wash their hands. Afilu eino yodea lachem shum tuma. So even if they don't know, or they're unaware, I guess, that they became tuma.
Like let's just call that call it, I guess, impure for the time being. Let's use that just impure for the time being.
Okay, impure.
Right. And then they're therefore invalid to eat. They're invalidated from eating bread with them.
Okay. Well, wouldn't he be invalid to eat anything if they're impure?
No. In fact, it's only relevant to really bread and actually wet fruits or vegetables.
Oh.
Maybe. Yeah, go ahead.
No, for example, in between classes, I saw a dead bug on the floor.
Right.
So I picked it up with my hand and threw it in the garbage, and then I washed my hands.
Right.
But that is what should be done then, right?
Yeah. There are a couple of reasons why you should wash your hands under those circumstances. First of all, it may not be unclean, and also it's whether it actually is it in this. There are various different types of different crawling creatures, insects, rodents, and all things, and various them cause different. Some cause tumor, some don't cause tumor. I mean, actual tumor. But for the sake of cleanliness, your hands should be washed after, like, touching an insect or something like that. Maybe a person squashes a mosquito or something like that. Whether they should wash their hands is probably not exactly necessary. According to halacha, straight halacha, probably not necessary.
Oh, okay. Okay. So let's see. So we're using the word impure. Okay. Vivarech al netila, and he says the blessing on netila yadayim. Aval lipat she'ein mivarchim alav hamotzi. Okay, but for I guess pot in this case would be something just made out of wheat, not necessarily bread.
Right.
Because if he's saying if he's having bread, why wouldn't he have to say hamotzi?
Well, yeah, to say a mostly definite, but there are certain breads we'll see. The Mr. is going to mention several examples of things which are actually considered to be bread, but not the bracha motzi.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We'll say here, because it's worthwhile just giving a little bit of a preface here, because we're going to get to this and quite involved later on. There are two aspects, at least two aspects, let me put it that way. There are at least two aspects we have to deal with here when we're dealing with these things. One is the halakhic aspect of the food you're eating, and the other aspect is, let me call it the, for lack of a better expression, the culinary aspect of the food you're eating. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so certain things with through the perspective of the culinary perspective could possibly be one thing, and the halakhic perspective could be something entirely different. Right?
Uh-huh.
So so those are two things we have to remember when we're dealing, and that's going to be this part of the Mishnah Berura is beginning now in the Tilas Yadayim. It's going to take us through all the things which have to do with getting ready for a Suda, washing your hands, making a motzi, so all the things you can and should not do while you're eating. Birkas Hamazon. After you're done eating, then it's going to take us into the all the various different types of different other brachas. Meaning, when a person is not going to be having a suda, he wants to make a bracha on fruits, vegetables, different combinations of food, soups, all kinds of different pastries, cakes, and all other kinds of different things. We're having sometimes some very complex points to be clarified in terms of all these things about what brachas you make, with bracha rishona, bracha achrona, right? And that'll be the greatest segment of this second volume of the Mishnah Berura. And so then as a preface to all that's coming up, as I said, there are basically two perspectives you have to bear in mind here: the halakhic perspective and also the culinary perspective.
Oh, okay.
So that's what you see over here. There's certain bread that you make hamotzi on. Now, you say, well, bread is bread. Well, yeah, from a culinary perspective, you'd say, yeah, bread is bread. But from the halakhic perspective, it's not every bread is considered to be a bread.
Uh-huh. Okay. So let's see. So we don't say motzi kagon. It says lachmaniot, which I guess are like crackers, no? Lachmaniot.
Yeah, they say dakim. I think they say dakim, like lachmaniot dakos, right?
Oh, okay. Lachmaniot dako, thin or thin bread, maybe, whatever. Oh, pat haba the kisanin. Okay, or uh let's see.
Bread that has pockets, like pocketed bread, meaning it has filling in it.
Oh, that's interesting.
If
Okay,
you
then
see,
he
if you see,
says,
if you see Paris, he says Paris.
yes, it says pat suya im tsukaro ushkedim oegozim. So bread that has I guess sugar or almonds or I guess some sort of nuts in the dough, I guess. Okay.
Right.
Ve'eno koveya suda lehem ein tzarik netila yadayim. And if he doesn't intend, I guess, to make a meal over them, he is not required to do netila yadayim. Oh. So, for example, I guess if you have one slice of pizza, you don't have to wash your hands, I guess, or
Uh, okay, so that's going to be right. That's going to be a question with the pizza, right? Um, so yeah, if you're not going to be convey a suit on it, and if it's not considered to be bread proper, then you don't have to wash your hands for pizza. That's right.
okay.
And also, you're very familiar with the Mazonis rolls, right? Mazonis rolls.
Yeah, like they're made with apple juice or something.
Right, right. They use fruit
Yeah,
juices, so that
yeah,
therefore they're not considered halakhically bread, right? The
right.
difficulty arises is when you eat them as bread, meaning usually they're not made to be bread, right? But you'll eat them as bread, meaning you'll either eat a sufficient amount of them, right? That'll be considered that you're making it into a Suda. And or you're eating it with other things, meaning bread usually is the staple of the meal, and then you have accessories to the bread, various meats, cheeses, fish, eggs, whatever it might be, that come to accompany the bread, right?
Right,
So,
right.
so if you're just eating a mazonis roll, right? So it's not necessarily fit to make a motzi nor to wash and bench and all that with it. But if you're going to actually use it as a replacement for bread, then according to many poskim, it doesn't solve the problem. Actually makes things a little bit more difficult because now you're entering into a maklokas whether or not you should be making a motzi on it and washing the yadayim on it. So
Uh-huh.
because it makes it worse, right?
It usually comes up for me on an airline meal.
Yeah, that's right.
Get an
Exactly.
airline meal and there'll be a little roll in there and it'll say Mizonos roll
Right.
and it's pretty small. And the whole meal is not really a meal, it's a snack.
It's more
Yeah.
like a snack, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just because you get hungry on the plane. Is that something where you can just say Mizonos and not wash?
Well, again, it'll depend. Like what's recommended is right, and again, there's quite a lot of discussion in the post scheme about this. But in general, what I understand, and what's recommended is it's if you're going to eat that at the beginning of the meal and eat it as bread, meaning you're going to eat that as part of a meal. So that's what we call you're having the mazonos along with the devar macherim. And if it's going to be sufficiently considered to be a meal, then you run into the question as to whether or not you should, in fact, be washing and making a motzi and even benching on such a situation like that.
Hmm.
So therefore, one thing that's recommended is to eat the roll at the end of the meal. Eat everything else and just save that for the end. Okay. Um, that solves the problems a little bit, but it creates a different problem because what you're doing then is that you're finishing off, meaning you're getting full, your severe, right? Your satisfaction of being full from what you've eaten is being topped off. The mark of a patish, so to speak, is being made by that roll. So that could in fact make it even worse in terms of benching, Um, so some suggest eating it separately entirely, meaning, just put it away till later on. Eat your whatever they're giving you, the chicken and rice and carrots, whatever they give you, or the eggs and, whatever, if it's breakfast or it's, whatever they're giving you. And just say, either eat all that stuff first and save the roll for later. Could be a few minutes later. You don't, you can just, wait and make your brain of fushes and at the end of it and finish it off. And then if you want, then several minutes later eat your roll. But that's probably what if you would ask me what I would do, I would just save the roll and eat it completely separately at another time. Right?
See,
Yeah, that's what I would do personally. Again, because if you want to eat like a meal, that means you're interested in having that roll like bread, right? In which case, if you want to really solve the whole problem, you should get some bread, some real bread, take it from home and bring it with you on the plane. But then you're gonna have a problem washing. You're gonna have to go to the bathroom or to the galley, and you're gonna have to wash your hands there. You're gonna have to walk back. It's you're getting into. That's why they put the mazonos roll there because they don't want you to have to trouble yourself to actually go halachically and start washing and all the other stuff. You want to avoid all that. But again, according to some poskim, many major poskim, it doesn't solve the problem if you're going to be eating it as part of a actual meal type setup.
right.
So that's what I said. If you'd ask me what I would do, I would just eat it completely separately some other time. Just eat your eggs while they're still warm. Eat your chicken while they're still warm with your rice and peas, and then take a 10-15 minute break, and make a bracha achrona and all that, and then have the bread. And they can, if they give you butter or margarine, you can butter and margarine. That's no problem with that. That's okay. In fact, you put a little butter or margarine on it, or jelly or jam. That's not a big problem. Um, that you can certainly do, and you don't have to make a bracha on the butter or the margarine or the jelly. That's tough to the mazonas.
Hmm.
So that's if you're asking me, that's what I would do personally. Uh, yeah. Okay, let's continue on. A few minutes we still have. Yes, let's continue on. Um,
Okay, so the Mishnah Berura, it says, K'sheyavo v'chule. Okay. Tom, takana netilat hu
actually,
mishnei
so,
devarim.
yeah, actually, so we actually did Aleph last time, if you remember.
Oh, okay. So we'll
But
go to bet.
jump to bed.
Okay, so lechol pot. So to eat bread. Okay, let's see. Lechol pot. Oh, okay. Shemochim alav hamotzi. Okay. So it says la'afuke al peirot the kidilakaman besif hay v'hatam lefi she'ein rov hatruma ela miminei pat diktiv reshit digancha. Okay, so let's see what that is. La Fouquet. That's
So we have here that the pasta you make motzi on the low tiknu el bedavid shekavur basura, meaning the only time that you're going to be making this bracha al netilas yadayim is something which you actually have a suit upon. You build a suit around, which is actual motzi, pas hamotzi.
okay. So La Fouquet al Peyrot, what even on fruit? Oh, it excludes fruit.
That's right.
Okay, so it excludes fruit. Okay, and that's we'll see in Sif Hay. And the V'hatam lefi she'ein rov truma. So the reason is that the truma is not. Let's see, she'ein rov, that the majority of the truma ela mimene pot is
Type
is the pot, is the
the
bread.
mini pots, meaning when you take truma usually comes from those species of grains which you make bread from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, maybe I don't want to go over time. Let's pick this up next time because we're gonna have to explain some background here.
Oh, okay. So we'll start with the Mishnah Berura on bet then.
Right.
Okay, I didn't realize it was so late already.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay, very good.
Everyone have a good
Yeah.
week again. We'll see you tomorrow, Mitzvah Shem. Thank you
Okay.
again, man. Very good. Thank you, Lou. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Have a good day.